These photos were taken in the middle of the night. No one knows why. They don't show what happened. Just pieces, rocks, branches, something tied together like it meant something. And then one image. The back of a head. Too close. No reason. And somehow, that makes everything worse. Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon didn't do anything unusual. That's the problem. They arrived in Panama like thousands of other tourists. Small town, Boquete. Safe enough. Quiet. The kind of place where nothing extreme is supposed to happen. And for the first few days, nothing did. Then April 1st. They decide to go for a hike. Just a hike. No guide. No pressure. In and out. The trail is called El Pianista. At the start, it's easy. Wide path. Clear direction. Sunlight cutting through the trees. You don't feel lost there. You don't even think about getting lost. There are photos from that part. They're smiling. Relaxed. Taking their time. Everything looks exactly how it should. And that's where most people stop paying attention. Because nothing looks wrong. But something is. Not obvious. Not dramatic. Just slightly off. They keep moving. Further than most people go. Up to the Mirador, the highest point on the trail. There are photos there too. Bright. Clear. Open view behind them. That should be the end of it. That's where people turn around. They don't. And this is where the situation quietly changes. No warning. No clear mistake. Just a decision that doesn't feel important at the time. They go past the point where the trail stops being easy. It narrows. The jungle gets thicker. Visibility drops. Sounds carry differently. You don't notice it all at once. It builds. Step by step. And the further you go, the harder it is to undo that distance. Still, nothing happens. No scream. No fall. No sudden moment you can point to and say, that's it, that's where it went wrong. It's slower than that. Which is worse. Because when things go wrong slowly, you don't react the same way. You adjust. You keep going. You tell yourself it's fine. Until it isn't. Later that day, the photos stop. Not gradually. They just stop. No final picture. No clear ending. Just nothing. And then the phones. Emergency calls. Short attempts. Repeated. No signal. They try again. And again. It doesn't go through. At first, it doesn't look like panic. It looks controlled. Like they still believe they can fix it. Find the path. Turn back. Get out. But here's the part that doesn't fit. If they were just a little off the trail, they should have made it back before dark. They didn't. And once it gets dark out there, everything changes. Because now it's not about finding the way back anymore. Now it's about surviving the night. And they weren't ready for that. Night in the jungle doesn't arrive slowly, the way people imagine. It drops. 1 minute there's still enough light to see the path in front of you, and the next, it's gone, like someone switched something off. And if you're not already heading back by then, you feel the shift immediately. The same trail that looked simple a few hours earlier starts to feel unfamiliar, even wrong, as if it's no longer leading anywhere you recognize. Shadows stretch in strange directions, distances stop making sense, and every turn begins to feel like a guess instead of a decision. That's the point where being a little lost turns into something else. Because now they're not just off the trail. They're out there at night, with no clear way back. We know they tried to call for help, more than once, reaching out to emergency numbers, waiting, hoping for a connection that never comes. Not a single call goes through. And that changes the situation completely. Because without signal, without location, without anyone knowing where to even start looking, there is no fast way out of this. So they're left with a choice that doesn't really feel like a choice at all. Keep moving in the dark, risking that every step takes them deeper into the wrong direction, or stop and wait, knowing they're surrounded by terrain they don't understand. Neither option solves the problem. It only changes how fast it gets worse. The next morning should have helped. With daylight, you expect clarity. You expect to recognize something, to retrace your steps, to correct whatever went wrong the day before. That's what should have happened. But it didn't. Because the calls continue. Short attempts, spaced out, almost deliberate, like they're trying to manage the situation instead of reacting to it. That's what stands out. It doesn't look like panic. It looks controlled, at least on the surface. But that control usually means something else is already understood. Something serious. Hours turn into more than that. Attempts. Silence. Then another attempt. Still nothing. And then, after days of this pattern, something shifts again. Not in what they say. In what they record. Because after all that silence, the camera turns on again. In the middle of the night. The photos don't come back one by one. They just start. After days of nothing, the camera turns on in the middle of the night and keeps going. One shot, then another, like whoever's holding it isn't thinking too much, just reacting. And when you look at them, you don't really understand what you're seeing. It's pieces. Rocks. Dirt. Water. Branches pushed together in a way that looks intentional, but also messy, like someone was trying something and didn't have time to do it properly. Then another photo. And another. You keep waiting for something to make sense. It doesn't. There's no clear direction. No full picture. Nothing that tells you this is where they are. Just random parts of a place that all look the same. And that's what starts to get uncomfortable. Because this doesn't feel like someone calmly taking photos. It feels rushed. Like something's happening, and they're just pressing the button without really aiming. There's one image people always talk about. It's just the back of a head. Close. Too close. No face. No reason for it. And that's the problem. You don't know if it was taken on purpose or by accident. But either way, it means someone was right there, in that moment. And something made them take that shot. Some of the photos show water. Rocks. Uneven ground. Not a trail. If they ended up there, they were already too far in. And getting out of a place like that, especially in the dark, is not simple. The flash lights things up for a second. Then it's gone again. You see something. Then you don't. Over and over. It's not enough to help you. It just makes you aware of how little you can actually see. And that's what these photos feel like. Not answers. Just moments where something was happening. And no one fully understood it. At some point, people always try to explain it. And the first thing they say is simple. They got lost. Went too far, couldn't find the way back, and that was it. And honestly, that probably did happen. But when you sit with it for a bit, it doesn't feel complete. Because getting lost explains where they are. It doesn't explain how they act. Those calls, they're not messy. They're short. Spaced out. Almost careful, like someone is trying not to waste something. That's not how panic usually looks. And the photos don't help either. You expect something clear. Something that points somewhere. Instead, you get pieces. Just random pieces of a place that all looks the same. So you start thinking, okay, what changed? Not the location. Something else. Something small that turned into a problem. Maybe a bad step. Maybe someone got hurt. Maybe they just couldn't move the way they needed to anymore. And once that happens, everything slows down. Every decision matters more. Every mistake costs you. And suddenly, getting out isn't just hard. It's unlikely. But even that doesn't fully explain it. There's still something missing. A part of the story that just isn't there. And that's the part you keep coming back to. Because whatever actually happened, we only see what came after. In the end, what keeps this case alive isn't just what happened. It's that you never actually see the moment that matters. You get the beginning. Two people, normal day, simple plan. Nothing about it feels risky, nothing stands out as a bad decision. It looks like something you could do yourself and never think twice about. Then it slowly starts to shift. Not in a way that's obvious right away, but enough that you can feel it building. The calls start, but they're not chaotic. The photos stop, but there's no clear reason why. Everything just changes direction without telling you when it happened. And that's what makes it uncomfortable. Because you're not watching a single event. You're watching something slip. Piece by piece. By the time you get to those night photos, you already know something is seriously wrong. You just don't know when it crossed that line, or what caused it. You're trying to work backwards. Trying to find that one moment where it all turns. But it's not there. There's no clear mistake. No obvious point where everything breaks. Just a gap. And that gap is bigger than anything else in the story. Because everything we have comes after it. The calls. The waiting. The photos in the dark. All of it happens after something already went wrong. And you can feel that when you look at it. There's a difference between someone dealing with a problem and someone who's already past the point of fixing it. This feels like the second one. Like whatever happened, it didn't look dramatic at the time. Maybe it felt small. Something you could still recover from. Until you couldn't. And that's the part no one can fully explain. Because we're missing the only moment that would make everything else make sense. You can go through it again and again, look at every detail, try different explanations, but you always hit the same wall. There's always something that doesn't line up. Something that feels just slightly off. And that's why this doesn't feel finished. Not because it's too complex. But because it stops right before the answer. Right before the one moment that connects everything together. And once you realize that, you stop looking for a clean explanation. Because there probably isn't one. Just a sequence of things that made sense at the time. Until they didn't.